I pounded hard on Mandy's door. And pretty soon, her daddy opened the door. And when I saw him standing there, looking down at me, with the sweat standing out on droplets on his upper lip, I couldn't say anything. I just stood there, my knees shaking, and stared at him. The gift of friendship is one of the most important things in life. There's nothing you wouldn't do to protect it. But what happens when one day you never see or hear from them again? This is Missing Mandy by Kehret. Last year, on the first day of school, Mandy and I walked together. I miss Mandy a lot. It might not be so bad if I could write to her and get letters back from her. But to have her just leave like she did and not know where she went, well, that part's hard. I always wondered what happened if I told sooner. Would she still have moved away and not let anyone know where? Last year, when school started, I didn't know anything about Mandy's trouble. She never told anyone, not even me. I thought she wore long sleeve shirts because she liked them. I didn't know she wanted to cover up the bruises. One day, Mandy came to school with her hand bandaged. She burned it baking cookies. That day, our teacher, Miss Swenson, asked me to stay after school. When we were alone, she asked me if I thought Mandy had really burned herself baking cookies. I told her Mandy wouldn't pretend to be burned if she wasn't. Miss Swenson said she was sure the burn was real, but wasn't convinced it was accidental. I didn't know what she meant. And then, one night, Mandy was supposed to come over to my house so we could do our homework. She didn't come. And when I went to her house to go get her, I could hear crying. What's worse is I heard why she was crying. I could hear her daddy beating on her, something fierce. I got all sick feeling inside, and I didn't know what to do. Finally, I pounded hard on Mandy's door. And pretty soon, her daddy opened the door, and when I saw him standing there, looking down at me, with the sweat standing out on droplets on his upper lip, I couldn't say anything. I just stood there, with my knees shaking, and stared at him. Finally, he said Mandy wasn't feeling well and for me to go home. I did. I sat on my bed in the dark, but I couldn't stop shaking, even after I crawled under covers and put the pillow over my head. I stayed home from school the next day. I told Mama I felt sick. That was the truth. Mama asked me what was wrong, but I couldn't tell her. Would things have turned out different if I had? When I went back to school, Mandy was there, and neither of us said nothing about that night. A few weeks later, she showed up with a cast on her arm. She said she'd fallen down her basement steps, but there was an odd, faraway look in her eye when she told me. That afternoon, I stayed after school and told Miss Swenson about standing on Mandy's porch that night and hearing her daddy whoop on her. Miss Swenson kept nodding at me as if she wasn't surprised at all. And then she said I didn't right to tell her. I don't know if it was right or not. A police car stopped at Mandy's house that afternoon, but there was nobody home. And when the police went back the next day, Mandy was gone. She and her daddy must have moved out in the night, because nobody saw them leave, and nobody knows where they went. Miss Swenson isn't my teacher anymore. I walk to school alone. I hope Mandy isn't walking alone, wherever she is. Most of all, I hope she's wearing a shirt with short sleeves.